We'll now play the corporate video.
On a very quick note, before we start this presentation, सबको थोड़ा जगाते हैं. So let's do this very quickly. Okay, this is hard. This will take hardly 30 seconds. First, you raise your right hand and then you raise your left hand. Okay. When I'll ask you a question, if it is yes. So so we'll start with right. Okay. How many of you do online fund transfer? Raise your right hand. Great. How many of you do scan and pay? Left hand. Great. How many of you do online shopping? Good. And how many of you have made payment through school or mutual fund or applied for ASBA? I mean through ASBA. I'm sorry. So now there are 200 people in the room. So I'll take this, all the raised hands to about 500 count all taken together. So when you did that exercise, you actually touched NPST 40 times. While you were sitting here in the room since morning, every second that you were looking at a presentation, this country was transacting 3,900 UPI financial transactions. And that very second, we were transacting 308 transactions on NPST platform, every second. So guys, keep these numbers with you. I will take you through what exactly fintech is, where exactly NPST is, and then I will let you know about my business. Because last 1.5 years, whenever I have invested time with investors, I have always realized that there is a big challenge in understanding the fintech world or the payment industry where we belong to. Obviously, you understand Flipkart, you understand Google Pay, you understand Phone Pay, but what exactly is payment? What exactly is digital payment, and where exactly NPST is? For that, you guys need to go back to somewhere in the year 2006 when the government thought about building infrastructure for this country, and that is National E-Governance Plan. So 2 minutes, I will try and spend some time on the infra on which this country is riding for digital payments. Then we'll try and understand what digital payment means, and then we'll come to NPST. Okay, this is how we'll break it. So now, when we are talking about the infrastructure in the country, please understand that somewhere 2004, 5, 6, we were in 2G era. Just imagine you doing online shopping on that 2G phone. Was it even possible? 2G ke network pe, you are going on a mobile application and making a payment. So that was somewhere 2004, 5, 6 odd. So we'd realized that this country needs data centers, this country needs network, this country needs, good processing system. Only then this country will have a digital growth, or else it was not possible. And that is where the National E-Governance Plan came into picture. There were 27 mission mode projects by the government. and there was this golden rule of jam. Jandhan, then your Aadhaar, and then your mobile number. Beautifully done. Very beautifully planned. So as a user, if you have a bank account, if you have a unique identity, and if you have a mobile phone, then you are my user. You are a Flipkart user. You are a Google user. You are a PhonePe user. If you do not have the capability to make payment online, today you cannot use any application in market. You cannot do any online payment. That's why this infrastructure was important. This started way back somewhere in 2006 odd, when I was actually researching for a lot of companies then, not an entrepreneur. And when this happened, obviously it opened floodgates for every single visionary who actually wanted to utilize the digital payments in the country. So now that you understand how the growth from 2G to 3G happened and from 3G to 4G happened, today you do not, even if there is a millisecond of lag on your application, your user experience is bad. That is the kind of user experience we have in this country. And this you can understand from this number that 2013 overall market size for fintech was around 1.5 billion, but somewhere in 2025 we are talking about 150 billion, 100x. That's the growth this particular market is looking at. Now this is a blue-eyed guys. This is a blue-eyed boy of this digital payment. So you had your prepaid card, you have your credit card. That was the only way you were transacting. So just imagine yourself 5 years back, okay? You go to a shop and you do a shopping, and then you have to make a payment. You have to remove your wallet, make a cash payment, or give him a card, he will swipe, you'll have to enter the PIN, that's the payment done. In order to do this, have you thought about what's happening? That particular system has a heavy software. The system there to swipe a card requires certain investment, thousands of rupees. India mein sasta hai, so that's how it works. It requires hardware, it requires connectivity. Cut now, 5 years down the line, the one who smokes cigarette will go to a pan tapri shop, वहाँ पे एक paper लगा हुआ है, ₹1 का printout. You remove your phone, you scan, you pay 18 rupees and get a cigarette. If this is the change what's happening in this country, imagine the growth of business in this country. This is only possible because of the way we have evolved in technology in this country. Now that's how the infrastructure impacts, that's how the vision impacts, and that is what gives a lot of strength to entrepreneurs or to a lot of digital companies who wants to be part of your mobile phone. Every single person who has a mobile phone here has done certain transaction. And every time you do a transaction, 73 out of 100 times, it hits UPI. And 8% it hits our system, NPST. So now that you understand what is infra, now you understand digital payments, what role it plays, थोड़ा NPST का बात कर लेते हैं. So for that you need to start from maybe a different highway. If you have seen that video, you saw customer on one side and you saw NPCI on the other side. So when you actually look at this highway, अरे उल्टा जा रहा है. We need to understand that this is where NPCI is and that is where the customer is. So imagine yourself, you are currently using a Google Pay or a PhonePe or a Paytm app. So that is the customer. Now that customer goes to a particular merchant and does a shopping. So that is what your merchant is. That merchant and the application, that is your knowledge about digital payment, that's it. Beyond this, you don't know about what digital payment looks like, what does it do, how does it operate. Now that is where we are. That's why, our visibility is less in the market. Beyond this is our role. So what happens beyond merchant is there is a payment aggregator who aggregates all the payment products together and gives it to a merchant. When it gives it to the merchant, he has internet banking, net banking, UPI, credit card, debit card to do a payment. Whenever merchant, user does a transaction through UPI, he is actually going from a merchant to a payment aggregator, and then it is hitting your bank account, and this bank account is going to a centralized system. That centralized system is going to the other bank. From there, it is getting the response, and then it is telling you the transaction is success. Now, this is the financial value chain. Now, where does NPST stand? NPST plays the role of a technology service provider to banks. And these are the products that we have built. I give you an example of UPI, but the banking industry is going through tremendous change. And that change is not just with UPI, but also IMPS, mobile banking, online dispute resolution system. This country is blessed to have a great regulator such as RBI, who has their own innovation hub. NPCI has their own innovation center. Every year they have several products rolling out. So you are transacting on your UPI through bank account. Tomorrow you'll be transacting through UPI from your credit card. You'll be using credit line on UPI. Now that is the power. That is the power of innovation hub. And this innovation hub is not just in private sector. It is straight away happening in the regulation body. Innovation hub is driving the change in the market, and that is the benefit NPST is getting. Every time there is a new product rolled out, every time there is a new technology requirement in banking segment, because we are present here, this is what we are offering. We get an opportunity to sell this solution to 450 banks, or let's say thousands of banks. Large bank, private bank, PSU bank, cooperative bank, small finance bank, payment bank, any bank. All of them become our customer. Initially, we were very small when we started, so it was difficult for us to penetrate. IPO gave us that opportunity to build, enter, have that cash flow, and then push ourselves to new products, new solutions, new markets. So we are a technology provider to bank. We process these transactions. So the brain of processing UPI transaction, when you are hitting that transaction, when you're hitting that pay button, entering your PIN, our engine is actually identifying if you are a right user, if you are coming from the right place, whether there is a balance in your account, whether your PIN is correct, whether it is encrypted, whether it is coming from the right phone. There are thousands of business rules which is processed within milliseconds and response sent to you. That is what our engine does. That is where we sit. So this is technology provider platform that we have built for banks. This is our business since beginning. This is where we began. Next what? Obviously. So being an entrepreneur, we never wanted to sit there. So we realized that our growth is restricted to this chain between regulator and bank. How do we go ahead? And that is where 2018 we decided, we went to NPCI and we said, we want to operate payment as well. Although we are a technology company, we want to do that. So you should know that your company, NPST, is one of the 24 TPAP in the country, third party application provider. अब वो तो समझेगा नहीं. So Google पे आपको पता है, PhonePe, Cred. So these are some of the TPAP. NPST is one of the TPAP. And its product is TimePay. So now we have the product which we have built for last 10 years for banks, but we own this IP, we have our own product. So we started pushing the API from our solution to the payment aggregators. He said, now you use the API. We have the engine, we have the sponsorship, we have the approval from NPCI, and now we have API also. Take it. So earlier, they had option to take API only from banks. Today, they have option to take it from API from NPST also. So, so our positioning was very clear. We are not here to compete. We are not here to acquire merchants, because that's a completely different gamut. We understand B2B well. So what we did was, we told them that You have 100% of traffic going to banks, let's say 3 banks. You give me 10% of your volume. All I need is 10-20% of your volume. That's it. Add another one. Your success rate will be better, and I will also service you. So we became technology partner sponsored by a bank to payment aggregators. So we created that link in between. So today, our customers are not just banks. After IPO, this is the magic we did, and we got a new segment altogether. And that is what is the second value chain. The third one is very interesting. Aspiration is high. We launched our own application, where we can call all the merchants on our app and say, get your business done, we will drive your payment. So अब ये third में आते हैं बाद में. So let's focus on this one because this is what is on our P&L. I don't want to take you through this journey. Bell बज गया है. So just to let you know, since 2015 we have been building technology product. It's not new. Okay, our digital journey started in 2017 around UPI payment. 2019 is when we ideated about this. Way back in 2019, it took us efforts and tremendous. There's an entry barrier, obviously. There's a regulation, right? Somewhere in 2021, luckily for us, August 2021, coincidentally, August 21 we got listed, August 21 we got the approval from NPCI. Now this is a journey that you should know. Post IPO, we were still building our product and we invested lot of time in building operations, in building solutions beyond technology because we were entering a new segment. So that's where we wanted to make it perfect. So somewhere in November, we did our POC with the API business. December, we did our first transaction. From December to August 2022, we were building all the other capabilities which was beyond technology. And that is what we spent entire 1 year. And September onwards, we started billing our customer. तब तक free दिया, ले लो, let us build our capability. And September onwards is when we started billing. And you will see the impact coming from Q3. And we decided to go on quarterly results. So we moved from half yearly to quarterly immediately. We have our earning calls going on. I think people have already attended that. And now you're seeing the impact, how it is doing to our business. So anyway, these numbers are available. You can go through it. What's next? Anything and everything coming from the innovation hub of the regulator should be on our book. We should be building digital currency. We should be building integrated system. We should be building virtual credit card, virtual prepaid card, anything and everything that bank needs. That is our horizontal strategy. At the same time, the APIs we have 5 APIs, we should be building 30 APIs. So revenue per account multiplies. And then increasing our clientele 4x. That's the vertical strategy. So that's the strategy on which we work. And this is the plan for next 2 years continuously. So API will continue to grow from 5 to 30, 30 to 50. And products will grow from 4 to maybe 10, 20 odd. So that's our plan. I think there's nothing much I want to cover. I know there will be few quick questions, but some areas that I want to cover before I take on questions. Just to give you some numbers, cite certain number, the application, Google Play Store has 3.5 million applications, by the way. 90,000 apps gets launched per month. And India contributes to 5% of the download. Just give you an idea, every single app, wherever there is a financial transaction, is an opportunity for us. Because they may be customer to some or the other payment aggregator. Before demonetization, digital payment was just about 10%. 22, it was 40%. 2026, it's predicted to be around 65%. I'm talking about current. But you should know very well that today, UPI transactions are 10 billion. NPCI has predicted it will go next 2 years 30 billion. GFF just got concluded on 5th, 6th, 7th of September. They are not happy with it. Right there, RBI was on the forum. It was said that it will not grow at 3x, but it will grow at 10x. So the target is to have 100 billion transactions every month. So that's the scale in which the industry is working. Rest, I'll take questions. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the lovely and detailed presentation. I had just one question for you. Actually, could you provide details in relative terms regarding the share of the transaction-based revenue and the product license-based revenue? And how do you anticipate the trend to evolve over the next 3 years? Because in your last slide only you said that you are now going to work on 30 APIs and you're going to work on the various different products also, be it the digital rupee or the other products that the government is also now going to mandate. So how do you plan this trend to evolve over time, the recurring versus the license based revenue over, if not maybe the next 24 to 36 months? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks. So break this business into two. One is the first channel and the first value and the second value chain. Okay. This is technology service provider business. This is the second one is API banking business. Let's ignore the third one. In this technology service provider business, there are about 450 banks, of which 20 are large banks, private and PSU banks. They will always be on license model. So they will pay me per mandate. Every development I do, every person I deploy, they will pay me on that. So that's a pure service business. But the second layer, maybe another 50, 70 odd banks, which is small finance bank, cooperative banks and all, they pay me per transaction. So there is a split here. The currently maybe, almost about 70% odd for us would be service, 30% odd would be transaction business in TSP. If you want to rectify me, please do it. Sure, I'm just going in the flow. The second business is purely transaction business. Every transaction we ask, give us some paise. So it's purely volume. We don't look at the ticket per transaction. We look at what is the volume of transaction we can get. So that's how you can account it. So there is no licensing revenue there. That's purely per transaction revenue. And yeah, second question about investment. We have a split. So we have 3 offices, delivery hub in Bangalore and Noida, and now we are beginning in Mumbai. We initially, at the time of IPO, we had only Noida. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring in the regular development through Bangalore, and the IP-based development, the product development, that is happening through my CTO's R&D lab. So we have invested into that R&D lab, which we account in our future businesses. Yeah.
Sir, this side,
Hello.
please. When you talk about making money per transaction as far as UPI is concerned, I'm sure it's minuscule, but what is the quantum when you say 10 billion transactions are happening a month and 10% of that touch your software?
8%.
8%. So
I'll
how does it reflect in terms of revenue?
So consider this: 8% of the transaction processing is the capability of the organization, which we have already proven in the market. So 8% includes both the businesses. If you are looking from the revenue perspective for the second business, we are processing about only 0.2% of the total volume.
No, what I meant to
So
ask is if UPI
65, 35 from banking, 35 odd from the other business, 65 odd.
No. So you would be directly proportional to the rise in UPI, your revenue.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if it goes to 30%, 30 billion in 2 years from now, and you still remain at 8%, will the revenue from that part go 2x?
Yeah. If it is 3x, my revenue grows almost around 2.5x. I'll tell you why. You need to account from both the side. One is on the TSP side, services and per transaction. I have given you a breakup. This side, the first one. In this, because in order to touch that 30 billion, there is a constant development requirement. So I get paid per mandate. So that will increase. That requirement will increase. On per transaction, again, the volume will go up. That will also increase. On the other side, it's pure transaction.
And in these 4 segments, banks, fintechs, and customer, which you are on all 3 phases, where is the maximum meat?
The second one. But you need to understand why. It is entirely dependent on my first one. Now, why everyone are not able to do this? Please understand. We have spent almost about 8 years to build this product. Today, I don't have to go to anyone to ask for the technology or the solution or have a proven capability. On my single engine, I'm processing about 4 crore transactions every day. Okay, so whatever we have built over here, we got paid for building this technology by our banks. Okay, then went for an approval, waited patiently for 3 years, and then when we got an approval, we built an API over the IP that we have. So now we don't have to be dependent on technology anywhere. We have our own approvals, and then we have our own API. So that is how it works. All I need is a sponsor bank. Because in this country, payment can be regulated only by banks or RBI regulated PPI or similar body.
Hello. Sir, I have two questions. Number one, who are your nearest competitor in the market?
And second?
Number two, the way I look your business model. So if I take an example of Visa and MasterCard, so in between Visa and MasterCard, Visa and a merchant, there is, you can say, a clearing agent, which is global payment globally, who works as a mediator between card and a merchant banker, merchant. So is your platform is very much similar to the global payment, wherein you are acting in this entire process of from merchant to the banker?
No. So global payment will be clearinghouse. So we are not into fund management. We are purely into giving the technology to transact. So every time you transact, it will have to use certain processing engine. That is what we are doing.
Okay.
So let's not compare what Visa, Master value chain with this, because they own everything. And then they straight away connect with bank and then tell bank you use it. In this case, what happens is, in order to streamline the entire transaction and fast track it, between NPC and bank, there is a technology partner. That is the role we play.
Okay. In your entire value chain, can there be a case wherein data from the bank could be, shared or means hacked through your system?
It's purely governed by RBI regulation. So data will always be bank's property on bank's premise and bank's audited system, even if it is on my cloud, if at all so. Secondly, every single transaction happening on the API business, that acquiring piece is owned by me. So that data belongs to my system.
And sir, who are your nearest competitors?
Okay, in the first business, we have MindGate, Olive Crypto, FSS, FIS, Kia. So there are only 6 companies that you should consider who has this level of capability.
And what is the what is their share in the market?
So the biggest one is MindGate. They claim to around 40-45% processing capability of the market, because they have SDFC and SBI. Rest would be, like I said, upar niche maybe. All 6 together, including NPST, will process 95 to 96% of country's volume.
And sir, when you are saying that you have currently 5 API, you want to increase 30 APIs.
5 API, okay.
Yeah. So these 25 APIs will be some different API to look at some different work, or it's just.
So let's say you are using my API to make payment to a merchant. That's purely debit from your bank account, credit to merchant account. So that's a P2M API. Now you need an API for auto pay, like eNash. So now eNash is coming on. Assume that eNash is now coming on UPI. So there will be an API for auto pay. So this opens a completely new segment for NPST to target NBFCs. Every single loan disbursed, let's target that, connect our API, and every EMI collected, let's do it through autopay. So then we release an autopay API. Then there is an API, credit line RI, so there can be an API. RuPay credit card is coming on UPI, there can be another API. When we are doing this, why not tie up with NSDL and do KYC? So see, this is done, okay? We have to just be innovative and see how we target more. So my banking customers are Canara Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, State Bank of Mauritius, Karnataka Bank, Karnataka Gramin Bank, Kerala Gramin Bank, और तमिलनाडु मर्केंटाइल बैंक और कॉस्मस बैंक 11 है, वो एक दो और याद आएगा.
Thank you. Please give them a very warm.
Nice. Thank you.
Very well presented. Very nice. And please wait. We have a good contingent from Gujarat, from Surat, from Ahmedabad. I'll request all our friends to come here. Chirag Master, everyone please